because Lynch.
And now, Jabroni Studios, in association with Big Herm Productions, is proud to present to you, recording from an undisclosed location in Oakdale, Connecticut, it's Chris Burns, it's Chris Lynch, this is Dysfunction Junction. Oh, extra sound effects.
I can't hear it. I got nothing, bro.
Who has nothing?
My fellow Americans.
There we go.
Today, the members of Dysfunction Junction will each pick who they think should run this country from 2024 and beyond. At no point are we drawing political lines. At no point are we trying to trigger anybody. And as an aside, if you are triggered by any of our choices, what we, the members of Dysfunction Junction, would like you to do is to leave your home, make sure your shoes are on, wear a nice warm coat.
Oh, a nice one.
Walk out to the nearest road that you have, stand in the middle of it, and wait to get hit by a fucking truck, because this is entertainment. We are not trying to draw political lines. We are not trying to do anything other than say to you, my fellow Americans, welcome to Dysfunction Junction.
Fuck yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
See, that's what I was playing, asshat.
I should have fucking piped that in.
That's all right.
Woulda, shoulda, coulda.
I was too busy selecting my entire fucking cabinet. My bad.
I understand. But this is the point where we say, welcome to Dysfunction Junction. They already said, fuck yeah. My name is Chris Burns. With me, as always, the co-host with the utmost, the Possum King himself.
Chris Lynch.
And, of course, the producer extraordinaire, the man with no hair. He of a party that, I may not want to party with, but when it comes down to it, the barbecue is good. It's Big Herm, Michael P.S. Herman.
Hello.
All right, I got to start with this. And I'm going to tell you this now. We've all heard the expression. Is that the Stanley Cup?
It is.
Not the real Stanley Cup, but it is Stanley Cup.
Not the NHL Stanley Cup. But it's the original Stanley Thermos.
All right. Now you're getting me all hot and bothered. You know that. Because the real Stanley Cup was commissioned in 1892.
Well, yes, but the Stanley thermal, whatever this is, thermal vessel, was actually started in like 1913 or something like that. This is the Stanley Cup company and the Stanley Thermal Company that is the actual parent and originator and their first awesome product from all the cup that all these bitches have to have.
Herm, quick question. Did you share the show to your personal page?
I did not share the show. I don't think I shared the show at all today. I gave it to you.
Motherfucker, go share the show now on your phone. Do it.
Oh, you're killing me. Man.
Just do it. We should all share the show on our Facebookage.
Well, I'm the producer. I don't do that.
Okay, so no such thing as a stupid question, right?
Yeah.
Well, so I'm in line at the store. Now, if you know anything about New England weather, we just got slapped with a snowstorm today.
Yeah, we've had some bitter cold.
Yep. So I'm at the store.
-12 this morning.
I understand. It wasn't quite that. I don't know how you'd put it, but whatever. It wasn't quite as cold as Herm. but I'm at the store. And it's a store I'm a regular in. They know my name. And the guy at the register is like bitching about the cold. And it's about 4:00 in the afternoon. Now, anybody who knows anything about weather knows that it gets colder at night. Would you agree?
Usually, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really cold just before the sun comes up.
So this asshole says, is it going to get colder tonight?
Now, is this the guy working at the store?
I mean,
No,
winter's
it's a
winter's kind
customer.
of funny, and winter's kind of funny, and depending on how the fronts move in, you can actually get a warm up overnight because there's a high pressure versus a low pressure
Versus no
thing.
pressure.
It can actually happen. It does actually happen depending on how the weather goes, but generally, for the most part, it does get colder at night. At some point in the evening when the sun goes down, and then-
Bingo.
yes, and
But
it may readjust, but yeah, it does.
all I'm saying is when somebody, I've never heard a question quite so stupid in my lifetime. Is it supposed to get colder tonight? Yeah, dumbass, the sun's going to go down.
Yeah, for real.
Like,
For
what
real,
the
for
fuck?
real. No cap.
No cap, dead ass, or whatever the fuck the kids say.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Real quick, before we get into tonight's topic, if you can read the screen, it does say, pick a president. We got this. First things first. Dallas fan.
Ugh.
It's not the end of the world.
It is. Kill yourself.
Philly fan. It's not the end of the world.
It
Here's
is.
what
Kill yourself.
Here's what I want to say. A lot of Dallas fan that I know, and you guys know I'm not this guy, but when I mentioned that the Yankees, and I only say this factually, I had to think of the word, sorry. I only say this factually, that the Yankees are the most successful franchise in sports. Oh, look at you living in the past, yada, yada, yada. Dallas fan, where have you lived for the last 28 years and counting in the past?
In
So
1995.
whenever my team fails, you point to, at least we got 5 Super Bowls. Yeah, and Kurt Cobain's skull was still intact. Alanis Morissette was still making music you actually wanted to hear. Party of 5 was still a show. And Jodie Sweetin had not yet gone from little Stephanie Tanner to meth head. So don't tell me about living in the past, because I'm the guy that does not do that.
Oh, no disrespect to meth heads, because like I've known a couple females, and like, they were fun to hang out with now and then. Not that I did,
and
but
it was
they were just
was-
a little wild. It was good.
it was 600 years ago.
Yeah, it maybe.
So for what it's worth, Dallas fan, it's not the end of the world.
It is. Kill yourself.
An Eagle fan, shut up. Let me throw this out here to you, Eagle fan. Some days you're the gun. Some days you're the Von Erich.
Von Erich.
And this particular weekend, you were the Von Erich. And shit happens. Life goes on. I've said it for years. It's just sports. Your life doesn't change based on your team winning or losing. You don't get a raise if your team wins. You don't get fired if your team loses.
I will say what limited amount of football I watched yesterday. I didn't really.
I mean, you
I didn't
might,
watch much.
in my kitchen. You might run the risk of getting fired the day after a fucking heavy team loss. I'm just saying, like I could be on edge. You might lose your fucking job, I'm not gonna lie. What might happen? The Broncos lost. You're fired, fucker. I'm just in a bad mood.
Oh, you're just going to be that fucking guy.
I'm just fucking around.
So anyway, based on what I saw from the how Philly played last night, they deserve to lose that game. They gave up. They gave up 6 weeks ago, and we talked about this on Facebook. I think it's shitty that Jason Kelsey is retiring. I think he even said a couple weeks ago, he said, I think I got one more season left in me. And as upset as he was when he was leaving the field last night, it made his mind up. They made his mind up for him because they just didn't perform. And like I said, I respect him. I respect him for giving that level of passion and give a shit attitude towards the game. He was one of the best centers in the game. I wish him well. Dallas, same story every year, lather, rinse, repeat for the last how many ever fucking years.
28 by my count.
You can't rest on your laurels. And just because you had a killer season, 3/4 of the season, you can't give up, man. Can't give up. If you want to make Dallas fans happy, you're going to be in the game. Well, you've been cock teasing us for the last 15 years, pretty much, with getting so close that you can smell it, and then at the end, just dropping the literal ball, and no bueno. So anybody who's crying the blues about their team, whether it's Philly or Dallas losing, you deserve to lose. Sorry, but not sorry.
The part for me that drives me nuts is that for whatever reason, and I say this with all the love of my heart, for whatever reason, Dallas fan, every year you hear it, you see it, you smell it. This is our year.
Well, I mean, the same can be said with any fan with any sport that's a longtime suffering fan. I mean, I know people who have been Cleveland Browns fans their entire life.
My father.
I was just going to say
they're in their 40s, they're in their 50s and 60s. I mean, you suffer with the team.
Well, it's like,
yeah, and you always want to have a positive attitude, but starting the season off with a swollen head isn't really the way to start it, because you're just going to be disappointed but come week 17 and then the playoffs when you're not in them.
Correct. And the more I think about it, I look at Dallas fan, because much like people say about Yankee fan, me excluded, they were jaded. They thought that every year was their year, and for a good spell, the Dallas Cowboys were the cream of the crop. But at some point, Frank Sinatra stopped.
But there's also more than 14 teams in the league now.
Right, but eventually Frank Sinatra stopped selling records, and eventually All in the Family got taken off the air, and eventually the Dallas Cowboys are not going to be the cream of the crop every fucking year.
Yeah.
Now go to Philly fan, which to me might be my favorite right now. Oh, the refs. Oh, bad calls. Oh, this. No, you got 36-7? Mayfield put on a show.
Well, the Dallas fans, same. Oh, Dak sucks. Wait a minute. You guys have been praising the Church of Dak all fucking season, how awesome he is. And now one game, he's the sole and only reason that your team is complete shit. When it really fucking counts. Come on.
That's the point. You hear every year, oh, Dak's going to do it, and Dak's a future Hall of Famer, and Dak that, and Dak this. Suck my Dak. The dude is trash. He's straight up trash. And you guys keep praising him until up through and including Sunday afternoon, where everybody's like, "Oh, I don't know why."
He's good under normal heavy pressure, but when he gets under heavy pressure, the whole team just doesn't seem to click.
It's horseshit. It's all horseshit.
Go ahead. Last bit of football before we move on. Congratulations to the Detroit Lions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was an ugly win, but it was a win nonetheless.
Like, isn't it the first time a Detroit Lions fan has ever sent a "we won a playoffs game" text?
Yes. The last one was in early 90s.
Yeah. 1992, I believe.
Barry Sanders was still with the team. It was a wild card weekend. They haven't gone further than that ever. Since 1963 or something.
So congratulations to them. I was rooting for them the entire game. It was a nail biter But they played it smart and they played it safe at the end to just guarantee the win. They could have been greedy and could have gone for a couple downs on yards, but they didn't. They just let the clock. They played the clock well.
They did. It was excellent clock management.
And yeah, I think Mr. What's his name there is going to be fired twice by Green Bay.
Mr. Dabalina.
Mr. Dabalina, Mr. Bob Dabalina.
Dabalina. But that's enough football. Fuck it.
Actually, not quite yet. Because I'm going to take Philly fan to task.
Ooh.
One of the most talented teams I've seen all year, bar except one, San Francisco. And you let a team full of also-rans and never-wers run you up 36-7. I believe that was the final score. Come on now. Are you still going to tell me you got jobbed? No. What you're going to do is accept a loss, which most sports fans, or you know what? I'm going to draw a line in the sand. Most adults do. Your team loses, shit happens, life goes on. Your life doesn't get better or worse if your team loses. Never in the history of ever have I gotten called into the boss's office like, hey, I saw Atlanta lost yesterday. By the way, you're out of a job. Nor have I ever heard, hey, by the way, the Yankees won the World Series. Here's $30,000 more a year. It doesn't fucking happen. But, if you look at things objectively, you live life and you're a happier guy or girl. I don't want to, leave our female NFL fans out of this. Stop thinking sports are war, because you will be a happier human being in the end if you stop looking at sports as war.
Yeah.
Because
Amen.
it's not. I look back to 2017 where my good friend Chris Lynch is a Patriots fan, and a couple of other people I knew that I still consider friends are Patriots fans, and Atlanta puts a beating on them for 3 quarters, but as typical Atlanta, they played 3 quarters of great football. And guess what happened? Tom Brady did what Tom Brady does and organized the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history, still the greatest Super Bowl ever played, and wins the game. The Patriots win the game. Your life isn't better. You know what you get? Bragging rights. That's about all you get. And those bragging rights, by all intent and purpose, last about 365 days. But in reality, they last about a week. Because at no point are you hurting me by telling me my team lost. Because outside of baseball and in the last, by my count, 13 years, I'm used to that too now. By no means does a sports loss hurt me. And it's time to stop thinking that way. I get it on game day, maybe a week after. My Michigan friends gave me shit after Michigan beat Ohio State, and then it stopped. I watched as Michigan goes to the national championship and eventually wins. Congratulations, Michigan fan. And I'm still seeing anti-Ohio State posts. It's like, have faith in your own fucking squad. Stop looking over here, because that's wrong. You look forward. Look at what's in front of you and stop dicking around and talking about your rivals. Your rivals are in the rearview mirror. The windshield is this big. The rear view is this big. Stop looking in the rear view fucking mirror. Cunts.
Yeah. What he said.
All right. So are we ready?
Yep.
Oh, born ready, man.
All right. Ryan Springer's watching, so fuck him too.
Hi, Ryan.
I'm just kidding. Ryan is a Saints fan, and that's acceptable for him because he also knows how to build the perfect double cheeseburger. So when he comes into the chat with the perfect double cheeseburger, I will announce it. However, Lynch, you're going to go first.
Yeah, since I have the fewest cabinet members.
Do you want to tell him the rules, or should I?
You can tell them the rules.
All right, so we had this idea about a week ago. celebrity presidents and cabinet members. And a celebrity is anybody who's known by more than, I don't know, 10,000 people, I guess.
Well, I mean, it depends on the context. Like, you could go total local celebrities,
Mm-hmm.
and you could have done like people from local bands,
Sure.
or you know what I mean. But yeah, somebody with some sort of notoriety to some degree.
I mean, back in the
Right.
day, Al Terzi and Janet Peckinpah were celebrities around here.
Well, they were known by more than 10,000 people. So, yeah, I
Right.
mean, you could have chosen, if she
Helmet
wasn't dead, Denise DeCenzo.
Helmet head, God rest his soul.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God. Al Terzi did have the helmet head.
His son's a newscaster too.
Is he really?
Yes.
Well, look at little Terzi go.
Tom
All right,
Terzi.
so-
Lynch, what do you got, baby?
All right.
All right. So some of you may know him formerly as Nicholas Kim Coppola, but most of the world knows him by his stage name of Nicolas Cage.
Okay.
You're
He is-
picking Nick Cage as your president?
I am picking Nicolas Cage as my president.
You just
Why?
made Donald Trump look like an excellent fucking choice.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, but it gets better.
Okay.
Oh my.
Well, first, explain why Nick Cage is president.
Have you ever really watched Nick Cage in his shitty movies?
Unfortunately,
Yeah, well,
yes.
there's no shitty. Nicolas Cage doesn't. There are shitty movies that Nicolas Cage is in, but I've never seen a shitty Nicolas Cage role.
So you just exactly explained my point.
Oh,
No,
no, I
no
may
matter-
disagree with Herm, but I'm going with it.
Nicolas Cage elevates or is elevated even
He-
in a
unfortunately
shitty
has
situation.
Some cheap scripts, but
He is the best part of any movie he's in. Always entertaining. Fucking crazy is batshit crazy. I mean, he lost millions on real estate and buying comic books, and named his son Jor-El, or
Dumbass.
Kal-El.
Dumbass.
But it gets better with his vice president.
stupid.
Oh, dear God.
For the love of Christ.
Riding side saddle with Mr. Nicolas Cage is Vice President Gary Busey.
Oh, dear God.
Oh my God.
So
For all
if
of
you're
you
gonna-
out there,
if you're
who
my
think
God.
that Donald
Mr.
Trump
Joshua
was a
is
shit
vice
president.
president.
Mr.
No,
Joshua,
hold on. Yeah, no, nope. I got to rub the vein down. Go ahead.
if you're going to go full tilt crazy, what better running mate do you have or pair than you have Nicolas Cage and Gary Busey?
Yeah, but
You'll
keep
find out in about 10
fact that-
minutes.
those.
I mean,
Yeah, give me 15 minutes. Hold on.
the script writes itself. You can just let your mind wander and to figure out what the world would be like if that were your president and vice president. I mean, Secretary of Agriculture could be Snoop Dogg. You could have your Secretary of Defense be Sylvester Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Good Christ.
I mean,
beat that.
because your Dolph Lundgren could be in the cabinet somewhere. This is just a cabinet full of action stars.
Did
What the
I
hell you-
mention that
what are
I
you doing
won
there?
the most original costume at the
you did.
Halloween party this
Yeah,
year?
you did.
Because that's worth a lot more than some of the dumbassery I'm listening to
Yeah,
right
but the
now.
problem is that Sylvester Stallone and all those action stars aren't who they are on film.
That's
doesn't
what I'm
matter.
saying.
They're just
Oh.
actors. Like Dolph Lundgren would be more adept, given he's a fucking major
He's a
league
genius.
scientist and
He's a genius.
he's something
Oh
else.
yeah, he is.
But
But you could give him any role and he'd be good in it because he's smart. I mean, pick a position, he would excel at it.
Herm, if he puts Dolph Lundgren on his list, I quit right now.
I don't know what to do. I don't know how
This
to
will be
I'll plug him.
awesome junction.
I will put Dolph Lundgren on any position within the cabinet under those two. Because you know why?
Fair.
Because he's smart enough to know that's a crazy idea. We
When to
really
hold
shouldn't do it.
and to know when to fold them.
Right.
That's Kenny Rogers.
Right.
Wait, is Kenny Rogers dead?
Not yet.
Not yet. He looks like it
Okay.
though.
Yeah, well,
Well,
And if he gets any more plastic surgery, his asshole's going to be in the back of his
I was
neck.
going to say butt inflated. He's stretched real tight.
Go on with your cabinet.
Let's see, who else could we pick? Who's relevant in that vein and era? Ted Nugent as your Secretary of. What could he do? What could Ted Nugent do?
You're literally
interior
just
defense.
you're literally putting
Interior.
the anarchist cabinet, and
I'm liking this pick.
I think Ted Nugent would be perfect again in any role, whether it's defense, interior, agriculture. He could even be a good vice president. Because again, it's counterbalance.
If the president gets shot, the vice president that's what scares me the most right now. If the president gets shot,
Nugent in fucking charge,
right? And look, I like Uncle Ted. I love his music. I like some of the things he says, and I dislike a lot of the things he said. You're talking anarchy, bro. Come on,
bring it. Could it get any worse than where we're currently at right now?
No.
Would you rather have a? Would you rather?
That's yeah, and people no, but yeah, actually, yes, it's so very much.
Would you rather have people who?
We all know it could get way worse than it is.
My whole point on this is you could pick any fucking celebrity out of Hollywood. They're not going to know what the fuck they're doing, and they're just going to rely on their sheer charm and.
That's why I didn't pick
celebrities. And status.
That was the point, Herm. You're fucking fired.
Well,
the celebrity. I think I know where he's going with this.
Their celebrity status is secondary.
All right.
The reason it's only because of that status that I chose them.
They're celebrities in their own way.
Herm's the main event tonight, so I'm throwing a flag on about 90% of his picks. I can feel it now.
Well, anyway, back to my point.
Go ahead.
I think. Would you rather have Would you rather have somebody that speaks the truth and just doesn't mince words and doesn't mind hurting people's feelings than somebody who's going to kowtow to either this inclusivity bullshit with you're wrong because you don't agree with me.
Which I'd rather come out in my president, vice president, and press secretary. But yes, I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Because any one of those people, they're celebrity, but they're fringe celebrity. They're crazy. They're crazy and they're not crazy. They're just crazy enough to say exactly what you would say, you being the collective three of us, off the top of our minds, and not crazy enough and selective outrage. They would know when to spin people up and to get the results that they need. And instead of the selective outrage of people saying, I'm going to get angry at this because you don't believe in what I believe in. That's just dumb. That's just fucking dumb. It's manufactured outrage. And I think people like those fringe celebrities would put people like that in their place. Make them understand you're not the most important. This isn't about you. It isn't about the minority. It's about the majority. Just because you feel a certain way about something doesn't mean I'm not going to discredit it, but it's not the norm and it's not the majority. I can see trying to turn tides with something that's really, really bad. But when you're manufacturing this outrage of that we're excluding certain groups of people, no, we're not. You're just bringing attention to yourself and because look at me, the wounded duck syndrome.
Can I bring something
people
to
like
the table?
People like that are not afraid to speak their mind, and they don't care if they piss you off. Gary Busey in the last 6 months has said some really fucking whacked out shit if you've been paying attention.
Oh yeah.
And the guy's a nut job.
Oh yeah. The one thing,
but you know what? I'd rather have him in charge than somebody who's just going to say and smile.
Well, let me bring this to the table. And now that Herm's coming back and he puts his cans back on as we wait, his hair's getting long. This is getting to be bullshit. Herm, cut your
Yeah.
hair.
I know he's a hippie.
Yes.
Yeah, it's getting long, bro.
Hippie for him.
All right, so I often hear people say, and I like where you're going with your point. I often hear people say, and I am gonna draw a line in the sand. The LGBTQRSTUVWXYZ community. Well, we just want the same rights as everybody else, and I always ask the same question: what rights don't you have?
Well, and I'm not even talking. That's not even the crowd I'm talking about.
But that's part of it because everybody wants to, and I say everybody. Let's say there's a group of folks that want to rally behind the community and say, yeah, they deserve the rights everybody else should have. Again, what rights don't you have?
I know you guys don't watch it, but the Emmy Awards were on last night. My wife likes watching shows like that, and
I saw Jennifer Lawrence say if she doesn't win, she's leaving.
no, that was the Golden Globes.
She has great Golden Globes. Thank
she
you very
does.
much.
She's
They
she's
are
very
golden and they are globes.
are globe.
Uh-huh.
They are globular.
Continue with your point. Oh, look at this. Ryan's in the comment section. He's got a whole cabinet. We'll get to that as soon as Lynch is done. Ryan, stay tuned.
The
For
kid
every-
is Martin Scorsese.
Stop it. Let Lynch finish his point. I know I saved this for Wednesday nights, but Herm,
So
shut up.
shut up. So they always make it a point to say this is the first woman of color, the first man of color. What does the color have to do with it?
Nothing.
Just
Here's
say
an
this
idea.
this is the first time that this person's won this award.
Here's an idea.
Because there
I know.
It-
Go ahead,
you're,
please.
You're
'Cause
you're creating this divide because of this inclusion thing. This whole inclusion thing with the Oscars and writers' pools now. There are people who are writing television shows who do not know how to write because they were hired because they meet a certain criteria. Is that
one of
fair?
no, because one of the things, and I always point back to a half generation behind us. In the 90s, everybody wanted labels off the table. Why are you looking at me as a black man? I'm just a man. Why are you looking at me as an Asian woman? I'm just a woman. And that generation, Gen Y or whatever, millennials, I guess you'd call them,
Yeah.
fought tooth and nail to take labels away. And now we have the Zoomers who want to put labels back on and they want extra labels. So who gives a rat's ass fuck? Let's be honest. I don't look at Lynch as an old man. I look at Lynch as a man. I'll throw this out to my friend Monel, who doesn't watch the show, and I understand why, because he's got a lot of shit going on at this time of night. He's at work. I don't see Monel as a black man. I see him as a man. I don't see my friend Gio as a Puerto Rican man. I see him as a man. I came up, and we all came up in a time where racism was a really touchy subject. And, you know, there were our parents, let's be clear, our parents may or may not have been the best role models when it came to race relations.
No, I think our parents' generation was pretty spot on with how they handled us with that topic. I mean,
But themselves,
my dad till
are-
the day he died never said, Spencer, that black guy. He's like,
I cannot say the same.
Spencer, he used to work here, and it never came in. That never came into play. It's just he's the guy that used to come around. Not, remember the black guy?
Oh, yeah, understood. And if it took further explanation, you say, you remember the big black fellow with the wide traps and the shoulders.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, Spencer. If it takes further explanation, those are things you could say. Not the first thing you say. So I'm going to give credit to the youth, and the youth being, say, 18 to 25 in the 90s, fought tooth and nail to get all of these labels taken away, and now they're coming back, and they're coming back harder, and now we have to have 16 extra labels and pronouns.
My entire point is, no matter who's going to be in charge, where does it end? I mean, because with the way the current way politics runs is that those squeaky wheels do get the grease, but the grease is being they're spoon fed what they want. The government kowtows to them, but no, not some certain states, but most states. The states right now where they're trying to pass the legislation for minors for reassignment surgery.
Or shit.
And it's gender affirming care.
No, it's not. You're not
it's not
affirming
healthcare.
anything.
It's not health.
Affirmation means truth.
It's not healthcare. It's mental health care. That's the first place they should look.
We're getting so off the topic. And
no, but my whole point is that my ridiculous point is, fuck it. Let's let the craziest motherfuckers that we know, that we grew up with, run the fucking country and see what happens.
Wait till you see my cabinet. I do have a foreigner. I do have a foreigner on my list. But
that's all I got to say about that.
Okay, I do have a foreigner on my list, but he's allowed to hold a cabinet position. He's not allowed to be president.
Right.
Correct.
So are you
presidential choice?
I'm done.
No, dude, I'd let this guy be president if you let me, or if you let him. Ryan Springer in the comment section says he would choose President Martin Scorsese, Vice President Quentin Tarantino, Secretary of Defense Bruce Lee. You kind of got to
be alive.
Kind
of got to be a live person.
Secretary of Foreign Affairs Donald Trump. Not bad. The only president we didn't have a foreign conflict under his administration. So I'm not a Trump fan. Don't everybody send me hate mail at cburns19@gmail.com. I'm just saying the truth. Secretary of the Interior, Ric Flair. I'm not sure about that. Speaker of the House, Vince McMahon. Wow. All right. I think Speaker of the House is voted on by the Congress or the Senate or whatever. I don't think you get to nominate them, but I like the choices. Good job, Ryan. Wow. All right. So I guess it's my turn. My president, he's in the news a lot. And if you watched his really bad NBC show, you'll know that this is kind of where he's angling himself. My president is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And for a couple of reasons. One, he's eloquent. He is so good at speaking, much like Barack Obama. Barack Obama could tell you to go fuck yourself, and you would ask him what to use, and you'd enjoy the ride.
And how many times?
Exactly. And I'd love to see the debate. Once the caucuses are done and you put the Republican or Democratic, whatever side he chose to run, and Harm and I had this conversation recently, and I want to share it with Lynch. Somebody asks, let's say The Rock goes Democrat, and he's running against, say, Ron DeSantis on the Republican side, and the moderator asks, well, Mr. Johnson, how do you feel about the crop shortage in Indiana and the drought and et cetera? And The Rock would say, well, I'm going to defer this question to my opponent because I was born in Pennsylvania, grew up in Florida. I don't know a whole lot about crops and this and that. And what does my opponent think? And Ron DeSantis would say, well, I think. And The Rock would say, it doesn't matter what you think. And just go on. It's an old wrestling trope. And I just think The Rock has a good mind. He's a successful businessman. Whether it's the production company, whether it's XFL, which just recently merged with the USFL to create the United Football League, The Rock smells money. And he does what he can do to make business better. And I've always said, and Trump may be the outlier here, The country needs to be run like a
business.
business where
No, I
profit and
agree.
loss matters.
There's been talk about The Rock being a politician for years. I mean, and all for the same reasons you just said. He's very
Well,
well spoken.
there's an entire TV series based on it.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
He's very well spoken.
Thank you, Ryan. Put that up on the screen if you can.
He's very intelligent. And he knows his stuff and where he needs to defer to the people who know better than him.
Right.
He's not afraid to say, "Well, I'm gonna defer that to the expert, and I'll get you the answer, but just let me have a conversation with somebody who can give me more input on that."
Right.
And I think today politicians are so afraid to show that they don't know everything. It's okay to say, I'm not really sure right now. If Chris, you work in sales. Somebody asks you, do you have 300 pieces of this in stock? You don't just say, "Yup." You go, "Well, give me an hour. Give me an hour. I'll make the phone call and I'll find out for you. Let me get back to you."
It happened
It's
to me.
the same thing.
It happened to me not long ago. Do you have this? And the computer. Somebody said, "Well, the computer says we have X amount." I'm like, I don't believe the computer until I can actually see it with my eyes. I don't believe a goddamn thing.
Right, and that's what we need nowadays. We need the humble politician that'll actually listen and see for his own eyes.
Absolutely. So which makes this is the part where I'm going to go fugazi because I don't know where The Rock sits politically, but my choice for VP, should The Rock be assassinated, would make a great president as my light falls. Excuse me for a second. My vice president is Henry Rollins.
Another very smart individual.
If you have read Henry Rollins' books, if you have listened to his spoken word tours, I've been to a couple myself. In fact, underneath this, I'm not going to raise up the shirt. That's for paying customers only. I have a Henry Rollins shirt underneath this from when I saw him in 2017. I know he's very liberal, but wouldn't that make the greatest dichotomy if The Rock is not so much Republican, but conservative, to have a liberal vice president in the event that your skull gets blown out, having a liberal vice president, kind of like the yin and the yang. It's kind of what you need, kind of like when we all talk. Like, I would hate, and I saw this recently online where somebody said, "Well, you know how to clean up your friends list. You find out who the conservatives are." I'm like, no, that's not how you do it, because us three fantastic friends don't agree on everything. That'd be like me saying, "You know what, Herm? I'm done with the rock and roll and heavy metal that I've listened to for 51 years. I'm just going to go straight up hip hop. Give me your list of 10, and those are my favorites." Fuck that. So I think the dichotomy is, if you have a conservative president, now again, I don't know where The Rock falls. I'm pretending The Rock is conservative, and you have a liberal vice president, you have the best of both worlds.
I see The Rock as kind of libertarian.
So do I. However, for my press secretary, I want someone who's going to tell you the real shit all the time. I don't want somebody who is going to do a little dance like Karen Jean Pierre or Jen Psaki or anybody who's come before. To listen to some of those press briefings is like taking a drill and putting it through your own temple. I want someone who speaks plainly, to the point, every single time out. My press secretary, hello, Cammie, how are you, in the comments section? My press secretary is none other. My niece, not yours.
Is that my niece?
She can be your niece too. I'm an uncle. You're an uncle. Wouldn't you like to be an uncle too? Drink to that. My press secretary is none other than Sweet Daddy himself, Matt Walsh.
That's another good choice.
He's going to speak to the point. If you don't know who Matt Walsh is, Get me in the
YouTube it.
comment section. Yeah, YouTube it. I know Matt Walsh has a lot of things that annoy a lot of people. I might be one of them, but I'm a big fan. Matt Walsh is straight and to the point. If you ask him a question, he's going to tell you the truth right there. Stop
Yeah.
it. When he gives his opinion, Herm, he might be off the rails. But when he gives you the facts, he gives them to you straight.
I like him only because I don't agree with him all the time. Like you said, his opinions sometimes are a little much, but he presents the facts and he lets you form your own opinion. He's not telling you this
For
is
the
how you
most
should
part.
feel.
Yeah,
he's
for the
not
most
always
part.
telling you this is how you should feel. He's saying this is how I feel.
Right.
And
But as press secretary,
given the
you
facts,
can't
I think
put
that
your
would be
feeling.
perfect.
Right. Ryan says, I figured you would have put Morgan Freeman. No. As much as I like Morgan Freeman, let him die a peaceful death. He's getting up in age. We've had enough of octogenarians in the White House. We're trying to form a new coalition here, which moves me on to my Secretary of Defense. And one of you is about to lose your mind. Much like Joe Biden, I am pigeonholing this. When Joe Biden wanted a vice president, he said, I'm going to pick a woman and I'm going to pick a woman of color. Well, I'm narrowing it down to I want a woman, I want a gun-toting woman, and I want someone who's not afraid to tell you she's a gun-toting woman. Ladies and gentlemen, the Secretary of Defense is my girl, Lauren Boebert.
Fuck that bitch.
She'll shoot you dead.
As the only member of the panel that lives in the state that she's from, fuck that dumb bitch.
That's what I wanted. I
Fuck
wanted to
that
hear.
dumb fucking whore.
Oh, I love her.
Fuck that. Yeah, no, yes. What you like is her appearance, sir. All right.
I like that she's pro 2A.
Dude, I'm the most. Look, I live in Colorado and I'm the most gun. Dude, there's in a room you can go into my house that doesn't have a fucking gun. At least one gun in it right now. Since I've moved, it's really fucked up. I've spent a disgusting amount of money on weapons, and you really can't break into this house without fear of dying 4 fucking times. But even I know that, like, when I go down to the DMV office, I don't try to bring my fucking service piece. She tried to show up to a debate wearing a service piece. It's not the spot, man.
No.
I'm the most Second Amendment, Second and 14th fucking Amendment motherfucker there is. But and honestly, she petitioned on some great shit, and then she's been in office, and she's really fucking not voted for a lot of stuff for veterans. And this state is literally we're known for the number of veterans that we put out. We put out more military veterans that have fought in that have wartime than almost any other state. We're in the top 5 of the list. Like it's in this part of the state, like it's all fucking veterans down here. It's not
can you just let me have my dream?
You can go ahead and have it, but fuck that bitch.
That's his dream.
I love you, bro. Fuck that bitch, but do your thing.
I've said that to you a couple times, but whatever. I have put John's comment on the screen if you would. I want to read this. I have carried into many different places. It's all about where you place it. Has not been seen. Yeah, but we're talking about Lauren Boebert, my girl, my boo.
The thing is that's the thing, and it's not about that. That would have been fine. I have no look. It's called concealed carry for a reason. But here in Colorado, open carry is just a fucking thing.
Yeah, right.
Exists. So it wasn't about carrying it. She literally walked in with a fucking mag on her hip, and it was not the right spot.
That's kind of bullshit. All right.
But she's got great tits, so go for it, bro.
Dude, if she's gonna screw anybody, she's screwing the press.
You can Monica that right in the Oval Office. Do it.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
I
Still
was
one of my
not giving him a hand job in a movie theater.
right. I wish I was at that movie, The Iron Claw. She'd be giving me the Iron Claw.
Oh,
Fuck yeah. All right. So my Secretary of Transportation, we've had enough of Pete Buttigieg, who took 3 months off because nobody had a baby and whatever. I got nothing against same-sex couples adopting a baby, but you don't need 3 months paternity leave. I'm just saying we need a
we've
Secretary
all
of
worked it.
Transport.
Take it if you, we're all labor here. Take it if you can get it, baby.
Look,
Take it if you can get it.
I don't know how many years ago it was when my ex-wife's grandmother died, and I was close to her. It's a very nice lady. Love you, Mimi. And I took the 5 days, and people lost their shit. But you're not doing it because you're hurt. You're doing it because your spouse is hurt, and you're showing support. That's what people don't understand. We're in the beginning of the Zoomer gimmick. So my Secretary of Transportation is someone who's going to get you to where you need to go the fastest you need to go. And because I need my person to be alive, ladies and gentlemen, your
Kevin
Secretary of
Jesse Owen.
Wrong. The Secretary of Transportation is none other than the driver of the Blue Deuce, Rusty fucking Wallace.
I knew it was a racer.
It had to be. Had to be. You can take John's comment down now.
Already gone.
And I'm only saying that because, again, Rusty Wallace, incredible businessman. He has Diamond Aviation. He has car dealerships throughout the South, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. Just, he's an incredible businessman. And he uses correctly his position as a race car driver to, hey, I'm Rusty Wallace. NASCAR Winston Cup champion 1989. Come buy a car from me, and here's your gimmick in Schnabitz-Fernham. Would I buy from him, or would I buy from Bob Jones Toyota down the street? Depending on what you hear about the franchise, you go to Rusty Wallace.
Well, it's amazing what a recognizable name does for just attract people. Go to Valenti's because they've been going to Valenti's for 35 years.
I was just going to bring up
people go to Falvey's because Falvey's has been around for 60 some odd years, or if not more.
And if you're somewhere in America,
Rusty Wallace is a name. You could not even watch one fucking NASCAR race in your life. You've heard of Rusty Wallace.
Exactly. He's not quite Dale Earnhardt, but he's not
goddamn close.
But he's not Lake Speed.
Or Bubba Wallace.
Thank you. I went the other way. You went more contemporary. Thank you. I got one last position. It is the Secretary of Interior. If you've ever watched his show and seen what he has done to
pardon.
Good Christ. Do you remember eating that?
No, but it tasted good.
All right. Well, as long as it tastes good the second time. If you've ever watched his show, you know what this guy and his team can do to the interior of a restaurant.
I know who you're picking.
Ladies and gentlemen, the only foreigner on my list, the Secretary of Interior, Robert
Irvine. I think that's a good pick.
People shit on Robert Irvine's cooking, and that can go one of two ways. Either you've eaten it or you haven't. People can shit on his demeanor. Look, I've watched enough Gordon Ramsay to know demeanor doesn't mean fuck all. Look, I work with Herm, for fuck's sake. So, but Robert Irvine and his team, when they go into those restaurants, and it's like, oh, wow, this looks like a trailer that cooked meth once, and they turn it into a beautiful space. God bless him. Let's give Robert Irvine his flowers right now.
He's a man of vision, and he's a man of passion too. And we watch Restaurant Impossible, my wife and I.
Absolutely, go ahead, Herm.
We've watched it since it first came out.
Oh my God, it's destination viewing in my house.
I love the show, and when he shows his softer side, you truly see that he gives a shit about these people and that he wants them to succeed. And the same can be said with Gordon Ramsay. Anybody who has met Gordon Ramsay For real, who's an actual in the culinary world.
Mhm.
He's a really down to earth, nice guy. He just knows how to push people's buttons to get him to do the job.
In 2009,
And the
I
same
had
can
the
be said about Robert Irvine.
right. In 2009, I had the pleasure of meeting Robert Irvine, had my picture taken with him,
I
and
remember.
I didn't know shit from shit about this man. He shows up. I got the call. I was working for a security company in Barrie, Vermont. And it's like, hey, you need some overtime? Yeah, you know me. I'm an overtime whore. Yeah, I want some overtime. Well, why don't you come to Ben and Jerry's? You're going to be sitting overnight watching about $2 million worth of equipment. Okay, me and my partner Don, I'll never forget. We're sitting there. We listen to the Red Sox Yankees game. We're playing the game. It was before iPods. We were throwing CDs in,
Yeah.
and what about this song? What about this song? We had to kill 10 hours. And in the morning, Don would take a nap, I'd take a nap, whatever. And in the morning, this big black SUV pulls up. The first person I saw was Mark Summers, the guy who hosted Double Dare, who I didn't know at the time was a big time TV producer.
Mm-hmm.
The second person to get out of the SUV was Robert Irvine. So Don knows both of them. Don said, "Oh, I'm a big fan of this show. You should see it." Da, 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 da. Don goes right up, hand outstretched. I can't remember his last name. Hi, I'm Don, whatever. My partner and I have been guarding your gear. Just want to say it's a pleasure to meet you. I knew Mark Summers. So, of course, I go straight up to Mark and whatever. And then Robert Irvine comes up to me and says, "Hey, what's your name?" Chris Burns. Well, Chris, thank you for, guarding all this equipment, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, I have to admit, I've never heard of you. He goes, "Oh, well, I guess you'll have a reason to watch the show going forward, won't you?" And I did, and I became a fan instantly. He's just such a nice guy. He really is. And stop it, Herm. Go fuck yourself. He really
So
is. He's truly a nice guy. And he
yeah,
actually, hold on, he actually tipped us out of his own wallet $100 bill each, which he didn't have to do because we were getting paid by the company. But no, he was just such a good dude. And years ago, Lynch will remember this. My daughter thought that Robert Irvine and I were friends because of the picture. So I sent him the picture on Twitter and I said, "Robert, I need you to help me here. My daughter thinks we're best friends. Can you please help me on this and tell her no, we're not best friends?" This guy sent back a tweet and said, "Emma, of course your dad and I are good friends. We just don't get to see each other as often as we'd like to. Chris, hope your family is okay." And I'm like, "Oh, that went sideways."
That went the wrong way, friend.
Right? But he's just a genuinely good dude. You can say what you want about his cooking. You can say what you want about everything else, but Robert Irvine is fucking salt of the earth. And that's where my cabinet ends. And now this is where the show's going south because Herm's going. This is where we go off the rails.
all right.
And may I say, no, I'm just fucking around.
So I was thinking, and I was
No,
thinking,
you weren't.
and I was thinking.
Baba.
because I almost went with just. I almost just chose basketball players.
I'm gonna go piss myself. This is horseshit.
It started out with President Shaq, and then I was going from there.
I think I threw up a little.
It's all right. You're gonna throw up a lot. Hold on.
Okay.
But instead, what I've decided to do is I've decided to go just hood niggas for the entire everything.
Give me your president so I can pee, and then I'll come back for the rest of the cabinet.
All right, our president starts out with Dr. Dre.
I'm gonna wait for the why, and then I'm gonna go pee.
I like that.
Look,
I like it,
Dre's a businessman. He's overcome adversity,
like The Rock.
heartache when he's dealt with with marital problems. He's dealt with the courts. He's dealt with all of that, and he keeps going through, and he continues to build and grow and do what is necessary. I think that mentality would be excellent for the United States of America in a leader.
Before you say anything else, I'm
afraid
gonna.
to beat a motherfucker down if he has to.
Well, I was gonna say before you say anything else, and you threw the beat the motherfucker down. Keep riffing on Dre so I can pee, and I'll come back and hear VP and all the other 28 cabinet positions you have.
I
Wait.
mean, he's
Herm, are you gonna
absolutely-
die?
no.
Please don't die. I'll be right back.
I mean, he started out with nothing. He started out with NWA. He started out with just doing that and turned that into something. And he went from just being an artist to a producer. He went from he had everything torn down. He had to completely rebuild it. He selected some of the most amazing talent that he could to build those businesses. I think that's kind of what you want in a president, is somebody that can select talent and know how to use it.
And that brings up a good point, Herm. You can be an okay president, but if you surround yourself with brilliant people, you make yourself look fucking stellar. And
Look,
that's
man, I
and,
learned,
but no discredit to Dre. Dre, I
No,
agree with everything
absolutely.
you just
I
said.
learned a long time ago that
He
if
is
you
an
really
amazing
want
guy.
to be the best, if you really want to run the best business, you have people that are smarter than you about certain topics in positions on your staff.
Absolutely.
Look, I don't know. I know business, and I know a lot of the aspects that go in with it. But if I want if I want somebody that knows finance, that can tell me exactly what the fuck I want to know and exactly what decision is smart given the situation. I want the smartest. I want people that are smarter than me about everything, with me having control overall.
It's funny you say that because end of the year came up and my boss said that our branch broke last year's total and we broke our goal. And the first thing he said, he's like, it's not because I'm great at my job, it's because you guys are better at the job than I am.
Right.
And it's true. We have gross profit margin goals, and we are consistently at the top out of 60 some odd branches around the world.
Right.
Not just Connecticut, around the world. We're up there. And he's absolutely right. You surround yourself with people who are passionate and do their job and are fucking smart at what they do and can fill in the gaps where you're not strong. That's what makes you a strong leader. A strong leader is just that, a leader. He'll point the boat in the right direction, but he's relying on the people behind him to feed him with the right information to get to the right destination. And I think Dre is a perfect. That's a fucking awesome pick, man.
No, I give me a minute to step away, and I didn't hear what you guys said. I will watch it back in post, but yeah, I can't argue with Dr. Dre as president. Now, would he be President Dre or President Dr. Dre?
He'd be President Dre.
Okay, I want to make sure we address him correctly. Like, do we say the President People's Champ or President Rock or President Johnson? We need to make sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States,
The Rock, Dr. Dre,
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Now
Ladies and gentlemen, the President, Dr. Dre.
Okay,
VP. Here we go.
Before you go, because I've always had a dream. You know this, Herm, from way back when. I said I always wanted to be president of the United States. And after the Clinton thing, I already have my intro kind of chosen. I want the guy who introduces Kiss not to go, you wanted the best, you got the best, but he says, live from the cum-encrusted carpets of the Oval Office, on your feet or on your knees, here's your president. And here I come with like pyro and James Brown band, go, da-da-da-da-da, the whole thing.
I feel good.
No. Okay, so
Chris
VP,
Burns celebrity hot tub.
that's right. I'd be assassinated within the first week, and I'll tell you why on another show.
All right, VP. Eminem.
I'm not buying this.
Eminem, because after the Murder Inc. thing, Dre rebuilt Aftermath, and 50 came in and left, and Lloyd Banks came in and left, and everybody was talking shit. And Dre went through a lot of shit, and the only person that stuck with his label was M.
Yep.
And
True
Dre
story.
Dre based his fucking career. Dre risked his career on M.
Yeah.
So he pulled a long shot. So M stuck around when everybody else was like, we're fucking out of here. So I can't think of a more ride or die soldier to be VP.
Fair.
And I think he's relatable as well. Again, it came up through adversity,
Look,
struggle.
look, here's how it works, man. You ever see a bunch of brothers walking down the street, and there's like a dozen black guys, and there's like one or two white guys in that group? Okay,
He's the white guy.
so okay, the look, those white guys are the most dangerous motherfuckers on the planet. There is no telling what those fucking white guys had to do to get the fucking credibility and respect from those black guys in the street, bro.
It's true. This is very true.
And that's why that would make that's also the other reason that Eminem goes, dude, he's the white guy and all the black guys. Like they literally trust him like he's one of them, accept him. Like there's no don't fuck with him.
Yeah, you leave that honky alone.
Right.
All
right.
They're all fine. Don't fuck with the white boy.
But my question is, if Dre gets assassinated or dies under natural circumstances, do we really want the guy who sings "Spaghetti, Spaghetti, Spaghetti" being our president?
Why not?
Well, again, okay, so
you go back to what my picks. It's no matter what, you're not going to have a failsafe in place because you're talking about people who aren't really that connected to reality. Herm's picks are probably the closest people that are connected to actual reality than anything that you or I come up with.
Came from poverty and used music as their way out actually are probably as close as you're going to find to people that had to hard work and you know what I mean, versus actors and movie celebs.
Yeah, granted, they are celebrities.
Understood.
They are celebrities, but they're of a different ilk.
Nugent didn't come from. I mean, unless you're talking about what's his name from Rage Against the Machine, Zach. That nigga grew
Zach
up
De La Roca.
That nigga grew up in Beverly Hills. So
yeah.
literally, he grew up in Beverly Hills. So what are you bitching about the man for, bro? But yeah, I mean, like people, like here, yeah. A lot of these people came from not a lot of nothing. At least, so they're still kind of in touch with the common man from where they came from what I've seen. All right, so we're on to the next position, right? Press secretary.
Yes.
Kanye West.
You're fucking fired.
Whoa. Well, he would be entertaining. That's for goddamn sure.
Like for real, can you just see him up on a stand taking questions? It would be glorious, bro. Yo, shut the fuck up.
No. I'm buying that because I would be the same way if I was president. Mr. President, that initiation you took in Iran, fuck you, that was cool. Next question.
Fuck you, buy my sneakers.
Just Kanye West, and I don't have to say any other reason and back it up. Literally, I just have to say his name and his position.
Kanye.
Press secretary, Kanye West.
Yep.
That nigga can
talk. Right.
Let it go.
I'll buy it.
All right, for Homeland Security,
this better not suck.
Ice Cube.
There you go.
All right.
There you go. That's a good pick.
All right.
Secretary of Commerce, Jay-Z.
I like it.
Another smart man.
If he knows how to make money, and I think that'd be good shit. Agriculture,
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg.
Got it.
Because the developments that he would do scientifically with the growing and the benefits of hemp and marijuana would be absolutely insane. And I think they'd be fabulous for stimulating the environment if we had somebody actually pushing that shit.
Yeah, pushing the agenda in the correct direction.
Yep. All right.
With-
Now, Secretary of Defense
This is where it's going to go sideways.
for the United States of America, Suge Knight.
No, fuck you.
Who's gonna attack America with Suge Knight as the Secretary of Defense? What? You started some shit. What? Did you hear in the news? All of China disappeared.
You don't piss off Suge. He'll hang you by your fucking ankles off a balcony.
Secretary of Defense. All right. It's like, yeah, what happened to Afghanistan? I don't know. That shit just fell out. It's gone.
Suge made a phone call and it just disappeared.
You know what?
You want to challenge him? I don't want to challenge him.
I'm going to be a conscientious dissenter. I may not be in favor, but it's your cabinet. And look at you. You can't even hold a fucking straight face right now.
But it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Fair enough.
All right.
Fair enough.
All right. Secretary of Education. KRS-One.
Oh.
Okay, I was going to stop you and said I had
That's
a
a
drink
good
in
one.
my mouth. Don't do the thing, but KRS-One is a fantastic.
KRS-One.
fucking
His
choice.
his rap name literally means knowledge reigns supreme
Mm-hmm.
over nearly everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great person to have in the education department. Health and Human Services.
Wow, you went fucking deep.
I did. Health and Human Services. We harmed this a little. It's Public Enemy. I mean, they told you that 911. They told you that 911 was shit, and they needed to improve it. That's Health and Human Services. Late 911. Where's the late crown? Yes. Public Enemy is Health and Human Services.
Wow. Let me just say this. I'm not opposed.
I gotta stand up for a minute. Go ahead. I'm listening.
You stand up, Grandpa. I'm the one who tweaked my back this weekend, and he's got to stand up. I got lidocaine patches all over my body like they're fucking leeches. And I can't say that I disagree with you on Public Enemy.
They're very socially conscious and calling people out on their shit. So for the people, so those are humans. So I figure that's a human service.
I don't disagree with that. And as much as I want to say you harmed it, you did not. So you kept within the rules. Very good on you. However, you're still a cunt.
I know. It's all right. I'm okay with that. I'll sleep like a baby. Yeah, I got two more.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I have Secretary.
You want to wait for the pot? You want to wait for the possum king?
I'll wait for Lynch.
I'm right here. I'm listening.
All right.
I said to stand up.
So
I didn't want you guys looking at my crotch.
Oh, sorry about your crotch.
Oh,
Grandpa.
Oh my. It's where the come on now. Where's the stuff? There it is.
You can do it.
My phone just shut off on me. Let's see. Okay, housing and urban development.
This is gonna suck.
No, it's not.
Beavis and Butthead.
Vanilla Ice.
Okay, stop. Time out. Offsides clipping. I know where you're going, but originally my VP was going to be Vanilla Ice because if The Rock gets shot and Vanilla Ice has to move up, if there was a problem, he'll solve it.
Well, that's kind of where I went. If there's a problem, he'll solve it. And also, if you haven't watched some TV and don't know about him, he's actually very good at taking lower end properties that are just right and flipping them and selling them for an extremely reasonable, not trying to gouge anybody. It's the I don't know, it's not the Vanilla Ice project, it's the Rob something project. But
Rob Van Winkle.
yes, and he actually just flips houses and he's really good at it. So
Yeah,
I
and it's
figured
not,
I figured that would be good for urban development and housing.
All right, fair. That's a good choice.
He knows how to develop and move people into places without killing them for money. So I thought that would be good for somebody in that position. And then we have my final.
Thank God.
Well, we have the secretaries of energy,
Of energy.
the secretaries of energy, and that is the Beastie Boys.
Ooh,
And
tell me more.
you might say, as somebody who's been to one of their concerts, what the fuck do the Beastie Boys know about energy? And I respond to you, good sirs, as have you ever been to a fucking Beastie Boys concert? It's
Yes, and
2
it's fucking
straight
high energy.
hours of exhausting energy and crazy energy. They know energy.
I'm going to say this once, and there may be people out there who will shit on me for saying this. The highest energy concerts I've ever been to, and I mean, when I say energy, I mean,
Dude, it's insane. Like you can literally feel your entire body vibrating just standing there.
thank you. You're in the music, you're in the moment, you're in the vibe. There are 3 concerts I've
Beastie
ever
Boys
been
concert,
to
my number one.
where you feel like you've lifted off the floor 6 or 7 inches. You are having just the best time ever. Kiss, the Beastie Boys, and Motorhead. And that
Yeah, and
puts
literally the energy drops just enough in between songs for you to like catch a breath and realize you're still fucking alive. And then next thing you know, a riff comes out and you're right back. It's insane.
having been to a Beastie Boys concert, I can concur.
It's insane. And there's not a lot of like production value to a Beastie Boys concert.
no,
It's
they
just,
come out Spartan.
well,
They come out like
it's literally just 3 white dudes on a fucking stage.
and a guy with his turntables, and
Right,
there was a couple other guys.
There might be a drum set guy, and there might be a bassist, but it's like a very minimalistic stage.
I just put it on the page tonight on the Dysfunction Junction page. Like it, love it, follow us. 8 years ago today, I drove through a snowstorm to go interview Shaman's Harvest, who are friends of mine and have been friends of mine since 2008. And we had the best time. The show rocked. I didn't get as obliterated this time as I did when they were at Mohegan Sun, only because I had to drive an hour back home through a snowstorm. But, they come out there, 2 guitars, a bassist, a singer, and a drummer, and they rock the fucking house. And the next day I get a call from Nathan, and he said, Nathan's the singer, Nathan Hunt, and he says, "What did you do?" I'm like, "What do you mean what I do?" He goes, "After we left, we stayed and watched Hinder, who was the headliner, and half the house left." I'm like, "Well, maybe you just beat the shit out of Hinder." Funnier story. I was walking out of the venue to leave because I came to see Nathan, Josh, and the guys in Shaman's Harvest. And we're walking out of the venue, and Nathan is outside signing autographs for kids. And he's got the latest record on vinyl, which is great. And he's signing it, and he goes, "Hey, look, there's the guy from the Jabroni show." And I'm like, "No, it's," and I said the name of the show, and he goes, "Oh, really? Where's your partner?" Done. The guy who worked harder.
Yep.
The end. But yeah, I mean, when you go like the Beastie Boys and you go hard and fast and you have a minimal stage presence. The last thing I want to see is a rap group or, I wish I would have seen Prince, but I've seen videos of Prince on stage, not the piano tour, but he's got like 95 musicians out there.
Well, that was why I always wanted to wish it unfortunately never happened, but they didn't last long enough together. But NWA, because that was pretty much their stage show. It was a DJ or two and a bunch of fucking speakers and then doing their vocals. So it was basically it sounded the concert because of a lack of production value sounded like it's kind of like going to see Billy Joel or ZZ Top. When you go to their concerts, because it's more about the music and less about production value, most of the concerts sound exactly like the fucking album.
Exactly.
Or damn close, because there isn't a lot of effects added. It's then that can't be added in concert, but with ZZ Top, it was just guitars and two guys singing lyrics. And it never really changed from studio to stage. It was the same. It sounded the same. I saw ZZ Top 3 times.
Absolutely. I've seen them probably 4 or 5 times. ZZ Top
And it
is
literally sounds like
fucking
you're playing.
amazing.
It literally sounds like you've got their CD on a giant fucking in a big arena and big venue. It literally sounds like somebody's just playing their shit really fucking loud on a house system, and it's echoey, and it sounds exactly the same.
Good shit, man.
That to
ZZ
me
Top.
is gorgeous. When do you have any more on your list?
That's it.
All right, let's kind of we're going to bring this down. Got a couple minutes left. I want to promote tomorrow night in a minute. However, and Lynch, I'm going to ask you when this is done, when we go off camera and we do our 5-minute post production, when I give you the name, look up one of our guests tomorrow night. You'll be in like Flynn for all 90 minutes. We got some great guests coming in tomorrow night.
Cool.
I think, politics aside, we've been dealt a bad hand since, I don't know, the 60s to believe that only Republicans and Democrats exist, that a third party couldn't be a great shot.
Well, that's the problem. It's not just that. It's that
because there isn't a media outlet that's going to stand behind a third party.
Right. There isn't.
That's the thing.
The problem is that they knew that, and people started to talk about it. And then what the system did was, instead of expanding and developing for the people, it pushed the concept of separatism.
And that's the whole point.
The system is divisive and makes you choose one side or the other. Most of the people will choose one side or the other. And now it's literally the blind concept of choice. It doesn't really matter it doesn't really matter what side of the chute the cow goes into. He's still going to the same fucking slaughterhouse.
Well, they completely tried to abolish bipartisanship, which is the whole point of the two-party system, is to have those two sides of the aisle talk things through. And there's no such thing. They just scream at each other and don't listen.
No, there isn't. And go ahead.
And I think having a third party that's kind of in the middle between the two, acting as kind of a buffer, is not a bad thing, because there's some third party people out there who have some good ideas and
absolutely
have good opinions on stuff. And at the end of the day, it's not about right or wrong. It's what's better for everybody. It's what's better for everyone, not what's better for their wallet or their agenda.
Right.
That's the way it is now. That's politics.
Looking back to 2016, when Trump ran for president, he was trying to get the nomination and he got it. And then they had the debates between Trump and Hillary. I was looking elsewhere because, I lean, like you guys know, I lean conservative. I do like some liberal ideas, not the ones in the last 5 years, but whatever. I was hell bent. I was like balls to the wall, Gary Johnson. I voted for Gary Johnson. I thought he had the best ideas. I thought he could lead this country away from party politics, and I campaigned for Gary Johnson, and it just did not work. But
No, because the two parties won't.
no, they'll never allow it.
Well, it completely devalues everything they say. If somebody in the middle says, "Well, I agree with that policy on the right, and but then I also agree with that policy on the left."
because they want that tension between the two parties.
Right.
They want you to pick a side. If
everybody is worried about what side they're on, they're not really worried about what everybody else is doing.
They're not worried about they're not worried about the real issue.
No, nobody's trying to pull the curtain back on the Wizard of Oz.
The issues just become talking points.
One of the things that I think the Iowa caucus got it wrong, was the Republican Iowa caucus happened just last night, and Trump was the winner.
Yo, I got to be honest. I'm not a Republican supporter, but of everybody that's going out there right now, Nikki Haley is the only candidate I see that has the poise, and she talks well, and I see Nikki Haley as a complete viable option for that party.
I disagree. I disagree, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute.
Not picking Nikki Haley.
No, she's great.
I think she comes across very well when she's on the line. You know what I mean? Like, she speaks well.
Understood. And for me, it's the guy. If I were, and I told you guys I registered Republican so I could vote in, the primaries. It leans more to my belief system, yada yada. It doesn't mean I'm staunch Republican. It means I'm a little bit more conservative than what Democratic policy means now. My pick, Ron DeSantis. Look what he did in Florida. He took Florida from a laughing stock.
But I don't want the United States of Florida. That's what.
See,
I don't want America to be Florida, and that's what everybody who supports him will say. But as somebody who doesn't support anybody in this election, I can tell you that I don't want. I'm very disappointed in the Democrats. I'm completely disappointed in Democrats. Literally, for the only fact that nobody has decided to throw a fucking hat in the ring and. Look, Joe Biden is not the answer, and I do not think that Donald Trump is the answer. I do not think that Ron DeSantis is the answer.
Have you read his book?
I don't think. No, I've seen enough of him to
read his book. I thought the same thing at the beginning. I read his book.
I don't think any candidate in this election is the answer.
All right, fair enough.
I firmly believe that, and I am not a registered. I am a registered independent. I can't vote anywhere in a primary, but I don't, unfortunately, feel it with any candidate in this election of any kind, any party, anywhere.
So
okay,
I think this run of election, there are too many choices. You had too many people squawking. You had Chris Christie, Vivek Ramaswamy. You got Nikki Haley. You got Ron DeSantis. You got Donald Trump. I like choices too. But put somebody up there and support. Instead of two handfuls of people, support 3 or 4.
Do your research.
Instead of having 10 people running and just running their mouth. I do like Vivek Ramaswamy. I like some of his ideas. Some of his ideas are just
he bowed out. He bowed out late last night.
He did.
And honestly, guys, you guys can attest to this. This is the first election in a very long time where we've had no independent anything on a ballot.
No.
There's
And
No.
nothing. It's so divisive. The country is so divisive and so divided right now. It's almost like independents and people that lean both ways and literally run down the middle and pick and choose off their branches. There's nobody for that. There's not even like, I think there's so,
there's no room for them right now.
well, there is, but that's the problem. They haven't
There
allowed
is,
it.
but there isn't.
But it's really what a lot of people are wanting now. And nobody's really wanted it in the past, and they've had them. And now literally people are starting to literally talk to the point where I don't like any options in this election, and because the way that their parties are so aligned, and there's nobody to be like, nobody in the middle that's literally running on the middle candidate party idea.
And
It's
the unfortunate truth about right now in the times we live in is that the people with money and influence are 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 propelling the liberal agenda. There's no denying that.
like there's nobody for me. Like, I believe abortion should be legal, but I also think you should be able to carry a gun. I think you should be able to all shit like that. It bounces back and forth to that
Right.
extreme, and I'm there's
But the
nobody
country
that
won't.
I feel that represents that it's okay to feel that way.
And the unfortunate part of that is that nobody wants to stick their neck out right now and be that guy, because they're just going to get eaten up by the far left, and just discredited because these people who have these lame brain whacked out ideas
You know, I'm down for
on the
social
left will
programs,
just chew
but I
them up
think
and
there
spit them
should be
out.
a limit on welfare. This is kind of where I'm at, but it's in the middle. Yeah, help it out, but make it a limit. And I don't feel there's anybody that values that. It's either like give everybody everything for fucking free, or
Or
you
nobody
know,
gets anything.
right, or the left, and you have to side with everything that they believe in on the left, or you have to do the same with the right.
There's
have
no middle ground.
Right. There's nothing for anybody that, doesn't feel that far about everything.
Over the last 20
Exactly.
years, the country has been propelled to this trajectory by the left, and it's leaning more and more towards that left, and they're getting what they want. They're getting the divide, and they're throwing down gauntlets, saying, "You believe me? You believe in what I believe in,
Well, on
or
certain
you're
things,
going to hell, or you're
Yeah.
but the
or
right
you're
is doing the exact same thing on other topics. So it's not
correct."
like there's only
To an
one
extent,
side.
yes.
It's
But
it
the
both
unfortunate
parties do it to an extent.
But the unfortunate truth, like I keep saying, is that the people who matter to some of the majority of the American public, which being news media, and media in general, are being spoon fed a certain agenda. And
Bingo.
if you and my point about the Emmys last night is that Glad won an award last night for like the governor's award
The fuck?
because of the whole inclusion thing.
Oh,
And
Jesus Christ.
there's a podcast you have to listen to called Nerdrotic. They basically just decimate Hollywood and about all the leftist agendas and all this other bullshit and the inclusivity. And they've actually had guests on and read articles about writers who were prolific writers for many years in Hollywood and just can't write now because they don't meet certain criteria. They're not black. They're not gay. They're not a minority. They're not trans. They're not this. So
Horse shit.
in a period of inclusion, we're going to exclude the people who've been doing the job right for so long. That's not inclusion. That's not inclusion. I'm sorry.
No.
Inclusivity means inclusivity, not who I deem inclusive.
Bingo. You know what's inclusive? The Speed Review. Tomorrow night, we welcome Bill and Wendy Venturini. Bill is an ARCA owner, and Wendy Venturini has been a pit reporter for such places as ESPN, Speed Channel, and others. They are coming on the show tomorrow night to give us a whole lot of information If you
Cool,
like
man.
racing, great. If you don't, whatever. Lynch, I'm going to send you a picture of Wendy Venturini. You'll be tuning in. Oh, yes,
I'm
you
sure I will. I'm sure I will.
And don't listen to Duke. Whatever Duke says, it goes out of the way. You can't listen to Duke, whatever you do. Because that's been in the private chat. We're not going to put that on Dysfunction Junction. We're not going to put that on the Speedway Review. But we all have the same thoughts in our minds. But Bill Venturini, Wendy Venturini, tomorrow night, Speedway Review. Tonight, we just gave you what we think should be the leaders of our country. Maybe you have something you want to say. Send it to us, junctiondysfunctionshow@gmail.com, or comment underneath this show. Have a great night. Gentlemen, any last words?
No. Everybody have a great week, and we will see you
No.
next week.
All right, good enough for me.
Drive safe.
Drive safe.
That's good.
It's icy.
Judgment falls upon you at first light. I'm the hand of God. I'm the dark Messiah. I'm the vengeful blood. In the blackest moment of a dying world, when a view
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.